Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Angelica and I create videos about lifestyle, home decor and DIY projects every single week. So if you're interested in these topics, please subscribe to my channel and stay with me for longer. So welcome to 2021. I hope all of you had lovely Christmas and a new year. After having few days off, we are all ready now for more DIY projects. Let's make this year amazing, creating new things and learning new skills. So for the first video this year, I decided to create two new items made out of air dry clay. Many of you were asking me for this kind of video, so there it is. I love working with clay, so making new items is always pleasure for me. Also, clay is so inexpensive product and you can create so many different and unique items out of it. So without any further ado, let's jump right into the first project. For my first project, I will use Das air dry clay in white color, cling film, greaseproof paper to protect my workspace, rolling pin, which I only use for clay projects, sharp knife, and for the first project I will use small plate, something where the edges go slightly higher, paint in any color, and brush. I start with protecting my surface with the greaseproof paper. It will also help to remove clay from the table much easier. I'm taking quite a big amount of clay and start kneading it. It gets really soft after contact with the hand temperature and becomes easier to work with. Then using rolling pin, I start rolling out this piece. Always make sure it's got the same thickness all around. Mine is about half centimeter thick. I cut off the edges to create rectangle and then I cut out 4 same stripes of clay. Length of them has to match the diameter of my plate. I place them on the plate just to see if they fit nicely. Then I'm taking another piece of clay, roll it out and cut out 3 identical stripes, same length as the first ones. With the leftover clay, I wrap it in the foil and put to sealed bag or container. Never throw it away. Then I'm taking some cling film and wrapping it around my plate. This way will be easier to remove later the clay from the plate. Make sure it sticks nicely without any air bubbles. To smooth the edges of each stripe, I'm using water. I simply dip my fingertips in the water and then moving slightly around the edges. Once all pieces are smooth, I place 4 stripes horizontally on my plate. Then with other 3 pieces, I'll go vertically. But I want to create like a waving effect. So I go with 1 stripe above another one, then under and so on. I press slightly all the points where 2 pieces are touching each other. And in that position, I leave it till it's fully dry, which should take about 48 hours. After it's fully dry, remove it gently from the plate. If any of the connections are still loose, I simply use some super glue in between them. This project is only for decorative use, so it's safe to use the glue. Then I paint it all with the grain paint. For clay, acrylic paints are always the best choice, but because these paints are water-based, make sure one layer is fully dry before applying second one. I try to cover all the visible white parts. Then I do the same on the bottom of this tray. After applying 2 layers of my paint, it's time to add some more details into it. I've used this technique before. It's really simple but quite effective. I've mixed some black paint with few drops of water just to make it more runny. Then with my old toothbrush I go around and splash this paint, creating really nice pattern. To protect it and create shiny layer, I'm applying Mod Podge. I'm using sponge which doesn't leave that many lines as a brush would do. I go all around with it, and because I want to achieve super shiny effect, I am applying few layers of it. Of course, I wait for each layer to fully dry before applying another one. I'm happy how it turned out. It creates nice and outstanding decoration. I really like the waving effect. You can keep some everyday jewelry on it or put it by the doors and place your keys on it. Because I want my pot to be quite big, I need some support for it, so I'm using this plastic pot. I start with wrapping cleaning film around it, which will help with removing the clay pot later on. I'm taking a big piece of clay and start kneading it until it's soft. Then I roll it out, trying to keep the same thickness all the way. This time I want to roll out longer piece, but not that wide. And to see how big exactly piece I need, I simply measure my pot around and the height of it. With these measurements I can transfer it into the clay and cut out exact piece I need. Then I start wrapping this piece around my pot. It was slightly too long, so I cut it off. When you try to attach two pieces of clay together, it's always good to make like a small cut on one side, and on the other side you can put some water. I tap it together till it creates one piece with almost invisible line. Water always helps with this process. Now I'm taking another piece of clay to create bottom of my pot. Same technique like before. Tap it slightly till two parts connect to each other. Once the pot shape is ready, it's time to create some details for it. I start with creating nose shape. Then I make some cuts and attach the nose to my pot. With the knife I create like a little lips under the nose, being careful not to cut through the clay. Then I take a piece of clay and divide it into 6 small pieces. Each of these pieces I roll between my hands to create like a small balls. I'm going to attach them on 2 opposite sides of my pot, 3 on each side. Before I leave it to dry, I go around with some water to smooth all the edges and imperfections down. And in this position, I leave it till it's fully dry. I slightly squeeze my plastic container to be able to remove it from the clay. Using sanding block, I'm sanding the edges down to make them nice and smooth. As you can see, there is crack only on the inside of the pot. What's good about air dry clay is that you can always fill cracks like that even after the clay is dry. Simply take a small piece of clay and water and go along the crack, filling it with the clay. Then let it dry again. I decided to paint my pot black, but with some small amount of white paint added to it. And my favorite trend of 2020, which I still truly love, the baking soda. I mix it all together, creating like a paste. Then using a brush, I apply it all around my pot. For the inside, I'm only using black paint. I'm not adding baking soda. For the edge, I decided to go with some gold paint. To protect the inside of my pot, I am applying thick layer of Mod Podge, leaving the outside the way it is. So if you want to put some flour inside this pot, I recommend to put some plastic bag before. Even if the clay is protected with the varnish, there is still a chance the water can go through and just damage it. Or another option is to use the same plastic container. Just cut it to the same height what your pot is and put it inside. Then it's safe to plant real flowers or plants. So happy how it turned out. I don't think I ever gonna get over this technique with baking soda. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed these projects and this video. If you do, please click the like button. I would really appreciate it. I literally feel like I have to stock up with the clay for this year because I got so many ideas to share with you. But if there is anything particular you want to see me doing, just leave the comment down below. And for now, thank you so much for watching and your support, and I will see you in my next video.